On this episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk about Airlines, the Uni Revue and Smokes, or SIGs, or Durries, or whatever you want to call them. They have various names, don't they? Anyway, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Luke Who's Talking podcast with me, Luke. How you going out there? How you going? Hope you're going all right. Now, let's get into the first story. A couple of, now when was it? I think it was late August. I actually now can't remember. Yeah, no, it was August. A game I used to play on Facebook, aptly named Airline Manager. And I'd played this game for years. It was probably like the first game I ever played on Facebook, right? Because, Facebook, it was like, it's Facebook. And then you could also play games on Facebook. What a concept. But this game, Airline Manager, was one of the first ones I ever played on Facebook. And I played it for a very long time. But it's gone. It's shut down. The game's gone forever. I'm clipping a little bit, I think. It is annoying me. I should make an adjustment. Let me just roll that back. There we go. Anyway, so the game, it's gone. It's not on Facebook anymore. But there's Airline Manager, which is the one I used to play, and there's Airline Manager 2. I've jumped on the Airline Manager 3 train for the moment, but there's also Airline Manager 4 coming. So what I'm going to do when Airline Manager 4 comes is I'm going to hop on that train and see if I can play that game for years, like I did Airline Manager, because I had I maybe had 1,000 planes, and when I heard the game was going, I thought I'm going to spend all the money I've got in the bank, and I had something 40, or how much did I have? I think I had $50 billion. So every day I was buying 2 or 3 aircraft to try and spend the money I had in my fantasy airline account, but I didn't spend all the money. I still had a lot left, and I was giving employees pay rises and all this stuff. But I didn't end up spending all the money. But now the game, she's gone, and the reason was given, it was because of the cost of keeping it going, the cost of running it. And people are tight asses and don't really want to spend dough on things. But what is a situation like that? You're playing a game for nothing. You're using things for free on the internet. There's a lot of cost. There's a lot of cost with that. This podcast, for example, you're listening to it for free, but it costs me, $40 a year or something. Is it that much? I don't know. It costs me however much a year for me to put this audio onto a website and for that website to be maintained so then you can listen to it. So I think people are free games, well, we want them, but, and they complain about ads, but the costs involved in keeping games and things online for nothing would be ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure Amazon hosting or these companies, I imagine how much it costs Google to run YouTube. How much stuff and how much traffic do they have to manage? How much data do they have to deal with? It'd be ridiculous. It would cost them truckloads. It would cost them so much, I would imagine. Well, if anybody out there knows how much it costs Google to maintain YouTube for a day, that'd be enough. It would be millions. That's a hot take. It might be more, might be less, but it wouldn't be cheap. Right, we're back now. You wouldn't know it, but I have just been to the facilities. I don't know why you needed to know that for, but anyway, let's get into the next. Let's get into the next story. Now, every year the university here put on a show, and they call it the Uni Revue. And what they do is it's like a satire show. And they usually review, sort of the goings-on of the politics or such in the last year or so here in Australia. And sometimes, they cover some international things as well. And so it's always sort of there's a bit of a pun on the name. So a few years, or maybe 10 years ago, it was a while ago, the Premier here, his last name was Bartlett, okay? Bartlett. So the Uni Revue was called Inglorious Bartletts, which is a bit of a pun on the movie. And then I think last year it was. I think it was last year. They have a new opposition leader. Her last name's White. So it was 50 Shades of White, I think it was called last year for Uni Revue. Anyway, so this year it was called the Lion King. It's Lyin, as in like telling lies. It was the Lion King. And, you know, it's like, it's a musical of sorts. You know, they sing songs. The show sort of followed the line of the Lion King movie. If you've seen the Lion King, if you haven't, why not? You didn't have a childhood, or if you were born well and truly before The Lion King came out, still, why haven't you seen The Lion King? It is actually quite a sad movie. Anyway, so me and a friend of mine, we went to the Uni Revue. It was hilarious, The Lion King, and the great sort of puns, you know, they had on the names of the characters. So of course Mufasa, in the movie, who we see briefly before, you know, that thing happens. He was former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, so his name was Maufasa. He was Maufasa, and so it was all sort of like around the time the election here happened. That was sort of like the plot, could you say. So you had Maufasa, Bill Shorten, who used to be the opposition leader. This is federal. He was Simba, so he was Simbil. His deputy leader, Tanya Plibersek, well, her name, she was Nala, so she was like, was it Netanya? No, it wasn't Netanya. Tanyala, her name was, which was funny. Now, I can't remember the pun on the name, but Zulu, is he a dodo? Or is he like he's not a toucan, is he? Anyway, Mr. Bean does his voice. He was Erica Betts. I can't remember what his pun name was, but he was Erica Betts. If anybody knows who Erica Betts is, you'd be like, that's perfect. Timon and Pumbaa were Trump and Putin, which was funny. Now, this is my personal favourite. Scott Morrison, whom is the Prime Minister and who loves being called ScoMo, he was Scar. So his name was... It's not that funny, but I mean he was Scarmo. So he was Scarmo. And obviously I feel that was hilarious. But no, it was a really fun show, and the uni students do a really good job. And the singing and stuff's really great. And the choreography and such, and there's only there's other little various skits and things they do in between, which is really funny. So they do a really great job on it. And it was a great show. As always, there's a few other times I've been. It's always a bit of fun. Like one time, was it after Trump had been elected? I think I went with the same friend, and the joke was, they had to build a wall around one of the cities here in my state. But what they did is they built the wall, and Trump was on the wrong side of it. So instead of building the wall, so it was like, if he was in Mexico and built the wall, he couldn't get back into the United States. Like, that was the joke. He was on the wrong side of the wall, which was really funny. So, and things like the song "I Can't Wait to Be King" was "I Can't Wait to Be PM," and you had Simbil Shorten singing that "I can't wait to be PM." I just want to hear that. That was I think my favourite song. They did a really good job, and it was jovial. It was jovial indeed. Oh, I can't wait for it to be back next year, if I'm honest. I'm already yearning for it, and I only went and saw it like last week. Now, cigarettes have gone up here in Australia. The tax went up, the smoke tax went up, was it 12%? It was something ridiculous like that. And anyway, now here's a bit of a gauge at how heavily priced cigarettes are. I was at the supermarket a couple of days ago, and I was behind somebody in line, and the person in front of me was buying a carton of cigarettes. So a carton is 10 packs, okay? A carton is 10 packs of cigarettes. And they were buying, I'll name the brand. They were buying John Play Specials, so JPS, which I've got to say, I would say in the world of cigarettes is probably like one of the more upper class, well, maybe not upper class, but like one of the better brands. But I was talking to a friend actually yesterday about this. Yesterday being Monday, because I'm recording this on Tuesday and you're listening to it on Friday. So how's that for a time warp? But I was talking to them about it and they were like, oh, John Plays, they're the cheap ones. So like, okay, right. Anyway, so for a carton of John Players, I'm not sure what particular model, could I say, of cigarette. But anyway, for a 10-pack of John Play Specials, it was $275 kangaroo dollars. $275. I almost fell over. I was like, what? $275? Oh my. Oh, $275 for a carton of cigarettes. I don't know, what's that each? I don't know, maths. But anyway, so the lady at the supermarket, she took 2 packs out, taking the total down to 6, and the guy bought 6 packets in the end. Obviously, $275 was too much for him, but he's 6 packets, though. Still cost $200, I think it was like 30 something. Jesus Christ, how ridiculous. I mean, that is so much. That is so much. And I'm going to stop myself actually from having a rant about something to do with cigarettes right now. That's a story maybe for another day. But yeah, $275 for a carton of cigarettes. Ridiculous. What do smokes cost in your neck of the woods? I'm sure in America it's probably like $5 for like a million smokes. I have no idea. But yeah, $275 for a carton, which is 10 packets. I couldn't believe it. Well, that is it for this episode of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. See, if I was on YouTube, I'd say that, but I'm not. It's a podcatcher. Am I still allowed to say that? I probably am. Anyway, you can tweet me. You can send me an email. Email is down in the show notes. Links to the Facebooks and all that jazz as well. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time because I've got to go and I've got a date right up in an hour with, scandalously, a guy. Oh. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.